Oh, we missed Porty pushing the button going.
I don't know how we work. At least he's not in Mexico, though, right?
He's not?
Not in Mexico. He's in New York.
He's always in Mexico.
Well, he's not now. And I'll tell you what, he missed a hell of a game tonight for the Blue. Hell of an effort for the Blue Jackets. 7-0 over the New York Islanders. Ties for the second largest margin of victory. We figured it out.
Ever.
Yes, other than the 10-0 win against the Canadians. I believe it's like the 6th or 7th time this year they've scored 6 goals or more, which is a franchise record. Mike, did you see this one coming?
No. As we spoke about in our previous video, after the last game before they went into the break, well, I made a big point out of it, so I don't look very good right now, but every team was losing their first game back.
Yep.
And interestingly, the Jackets had a throwback game. It was like a throwback November romp December game where they had everything clicking tonight. They had all their lines going, and their playing their own end was as good as I've seen it in some time. That was the best two-way game, plus goaltending. Korpisalo's first shutout of his career, NHL career. It's as good a game as I've seen in all those 3 facets. And geez, I can't remember.
In 2017.
I would say you're probably right, Tom.
Yeah. Again, a big performance. Teams were like 3-12-4. 0-8-3 coming out of the bye weeks in February alone, and it's easily the biggest win by a team. There have only been 3 other wins by a team coming off the bye. Nick Foligno, a pair of goals. Josh Anderson,
he was very good.
Yes, who had the kind of the bad line change that ended up costing him in the Nashville game. Also 2 goals. David Savard, a goal, 3 assists. 12 guys overall on the score sheet, and as Mike said, they were good in all 3 zones, and they looked like the team that was hovering around 9th, 8th, trying to get into the playoffs, in which the position the Islanders are in, a team that's desperate, and a team that came in here having won 3 in a row, looking very good, and
very good since they changed coaches.
Right.
Generally speaking, yes.
I want to get your take on one player in particular. One of the big news items that came out of practice yesterday was Brandon Saad, who spent almost the entire season on the top line on the left side with Wenberg and Foligno. Because of what's going on with Bjorkstrand being here and Tortorella wanting him to play up on a skill line, they dropped Brandon Saad to basically what is a 4th line. You wrote about this for Sunday's Dispatch. Tell me your feelings about this and how you think he's played and how you thought he played tonight.
Well, first let me say what John Tortorella said about it after the game. He said, don't put numbers on the lines 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't make too much about this being some kind of demotion. Those weren't his exact words. For Saad, he wants to experiment with Saad on the right side. He has a chance to do it now with both Calvert and Sedlak out of the lineup. He can play around with his lines. He says this is something he may do more of, and he wants to see more of that $11.4 million 4th line. Yes, with Hartnell, Gagne, Saad left to right. I wrote about it, and one of the things I don't get is, fine, you can say all this stuff, but he's been on Saad's case. Not crazily so, but he's kind of been the guy he's picked on. You know, he's his Vinny LeCavalier here. His Brad Richards.
Trying to push him in, elevate him.
Yes, he has. And he's said his name for the record. So I mentioned that, and the fact that this notion that you can't bring Oliver Bjorkstrand up and play him on the 3rd or 4th line because that would be a waste of his development time, given that he's a skilled player, is funny to me. Not that that's not sound thinking, but because, so what do you do instead? You take a $6 million left winger who was among the most prized free agents on the market 2 years ago, and you drop him down to the 4th line and put him on his off wing to make room for Bjorkstrand. I had a little fun with that. I tried to give both sides of the equation. You just hope these things are educational and that they help the team going down the road if you're a Jackets fan.
Yeah, read the column. It's a good column. I've already read it. So again, a good start to a big weekend. They now go play the Rangers, who have been one of the hotter teams in the league. They had a wild game the last time there, 6-4 with a win. One last point before we leave tonight. We're a couple days away.
That's where Porty is, by the way.
Yes, he is in New York. Porty's in there ready for coverage.
Is Charlie still open?
it might be. But also, one thing on Porty, make sure you read his interviews with JD. The first part dropped today. I think the second part of that interview will run tomorrow. It's excellent stuff. But one more point, the trade deadline's coming up. Do they have their backup goaltender in Jonas Korpisalo, do you think, right now, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah,
say I agree with you. I think that he's 5-1. First career shutout, as Mike mentioned.
There's no need to go out and pay mortgage part, even if it's a small slice of the future, to get a backup goaltender, in my opinion.
All right, since this will be the last time we'll have either of us will be on in this format before the trade deadline.
Yeah, text Porty.
And what moves, if any, should they make to fortify this team for the playoff?
I wrote this prior to their bye week. I think they stand pat. It's one thing if you're a team going for a Stanley Cup, like Pittsburgh going for another Stanley Cup. Anaheim, which just made a move, they think they've been on the cusp and they want to go for it, and they went out and got Eves. That's one thing. This is still a young team where, you know what, if you get past one round, great for the kids.
Yeah.
See what happens in the second round. Maybe you can win the divisional playoff. I don't know. Maybe you get lucky and roll your way to a final somehow, or even win a cup. It's possible. But to me, given the age of this roster, I don't give up any of the young players to get a rental, or I'd have to think very hard, and even depending on the player and his price, to go after, say, a top-line center. I don't think I'd do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, we'll see you back here soon. Check out Mike's column on Dispatch.com. Porty has, like I said, the great interview with JD.
Podcast. We did a podcast.
Yeah. Catch up with everything. We'll see.
Porty wasn't in Mexico for the podcast.
No, he wasn't in Mexico.
He was at the podcast.
You got to stop mentioning Mexico. All right, we'll see you next time.